Okay, year seven. We're now moving on to uh, area of a circle. Now, this is strictly not speaking in the year seven textbook. It is in the year seven and eight stage work. So as you can see here, I'm using the year eight textbook, and we're going to be using to do our questions the year eight textbook called Mathscape. So, but seeing as we've done all the areas for the other ones, all the other shapes, it seems pertinent that we do the area of a circle. It's not that hard. And we've already done the perimeter of a circle, so we already have an understanding. So first of all, let's devise a way for working out the area of a circle. So imagine that I have this circle, and I'm going to divide this circle up into equal pieces. I'm going to draw all these diameters through. Now, if I then unroll that shape, so let's say I've got it like there, like an orange, like I've got a slice of orange, and if I cut it here and unroll it, I will get all these triangles. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to stop at 4. So if I cut it, I'll get all those triangles. Now I've only drawn 4. I've only drawn that one, that one, that one, and that one. Because then what I'm going to do, I'm going to unroll the top half and put it in also. And I'll do these ones in blue. So I get 1 there, 2, 3, 4, which are these 4 triangles. And now, look at this shape I've got. It looks very much like a parallelogram or a rectangle. Now imagine if I had not just done that's a terrible circle. I need to get that wider. There we go. Imagine if I had done more than 4, dividing it up into 8. Imagine if I divided it up and then I kept going and I kept making more slices. Like if I kept going and going and going and going, like if I went even further, I sliced that one and that one and that one and that one. It'd get closer and closer to a rectangle because the thinner or the number of slices, the more slices I do, the closer and closer we get to a rectangle. And one of the things in mathematics that we deal with is that we say, well, what about if we made an infinite amount of slices? And this has all gone back now. So if they'd made an infinite amount of slices. Now, if I'd done that, I would have got very, very close to having a rectangle. And here's the base and here's the height. And remember, our formula for a rectangle is area equals base height. Now, the height is going to be very, very close to that distance there. And that distance there is just the radius. It's that distance there, which is the radius. So my height is r. And the base, this distance, well, it's half the circumference. Now, normally, for the circumference, we use the formula circumference equals pi times d. But I don't want to have two variables. I don't want to have the diameter and the radius. So I'm going to use pi, and I know that the diameter is 2r. So I can use 2 pi r, 2 times pi times the radius is the same formula. But I don't want all the way round. I want halfway round. Well, that means the base is a half times 2 times pi times r. And a half of 2 is just 1. So half the circumference is just pi times r. So the base is pi times r. So I get pi times r, and I get pi r squared. And that, and you need to write that down, is a formula for the area of a circle. Pi r squared. Now, it's an approximation, and to indicate an approximation, we put a dot above and below. So let's have a look at the questions that we want to do. And I've got them here. Righto. So once you see this, now it's important that you understand the formulas, but then applying them is terribly, terribly easy. So the area of a circle is equal, I'll write that again, is equal to pi r squared. So all I have to do is substitute in the r, because I know on my calculator I have pi and it's down on the bottom underneath the 3. So if I hit shift and this button here, I get pi. And it's an irrational number that goes on and on and on and on and on. So, and that's what we're going to be using. We're going to be using our calculator. So here is question 1A from an old Year 8 textbook called Mathscape. And the area is pi times the radius, 3, squared. Now make sure you know how to type this into your calculator. So I'm going to go shift pi times 3 is the radius, and here's my squared button here. And I just press equals. Now, they want it to correct to 1 decimal place. So remember, with our decimals, we write 28.7. You need the next number, 28.27. 28.27. And it does go on. And then we just go, well, let's draw a line down here. We look at the number directly behind that line. If it's 5 or more, we round the number in front up, which means just make it 1 bigger. So it's 28.3. Now remember, we are finding area, and we measure area in square units. Well, the units are centimetres, and there are 28.3 centimetre squares, or square centimetres that fit in there. Now the answers are below, and there you can see it's right, 28.3. All of these are going to be the same. I'm not going to do all of them. I'll do B. Area equals pi r squared. Pi times, what's the radius? 7 squared. Go to my calculator. Now, here's the thing. You don't want to keep trying to retype that in all the time. You can use your back arrow button. So your back arrow button is here. And if you press that, you get back into the equation you just typed. And all you want to do is change that 3 to a 7. So you go along and then you delete that 3, you put in a 7 and you press enter. And you get the answer 153.93. 153.93 dot dot dot. Look at that number behind. Is it 5 or more? No, it's not. So I'll just write 153.9 metre squares. Check the answer down the bottom. There it is. It's correct. So all of these are the same. I'm just going to go now and do the last two because they're pretty easy. So 1G, and we've got area equals pi r squared. What's the radius? 22.7. So pi times 22.7 squared. Go to my calculator, use my back arrow, change that 7 to 22.7. Chris, equals 1618.83. 1618 point, what was it again? 83. Dot, dot, dot. Look at the number directly behind. Is it 5 or more? No, it's not. Leave it alone. 1618.8. What units were we in? Centimetre squares. Go down here, check the answer. What is it? 1G. And yes, we're right. Last one. H. These are so easy. Area equals pi r squared. Pi times the radius. What's the radius? 34.3 metres. 34.3 squared equals calculator, back arrow, 34.3 squared, 369605, 3696.05, dot, dot, dot. Look at the number behind. Is it 5 or more? Yes, we round up. So 3696.1 metre squares. Double check the answer to 1G. And there we are. We know we're right. So area is pretty easy. How can they make it hard? Well, they can give you the diameter. But again, that's not too hard. I'm just going to do 2A and 2B here. So here's 2A. They give us the diameter. Area equals pi r squared. So what you've got to do is you've got to halve that diameter. So it's pi times, not 10, because a half of 10 is 5. I have to use 5 squared. So I have to halve that. I have to go 10 divided by 2. Now you can use your calculator or you can be smart enough to do it in your head. So here I go, back, make that a 5, 78.53. 78.53, dot, dot, dot. Look at the number directly behind. Is it 5 or more? No, it's not. So it's just going to be 78.5 millimetres squared. I'll look at the answer, and there we go. So I'm just going to jump to the last one, 12B, 2B. Again, not B, D. So all you've got to make sure is you just get the right radius or the right, well, yeah, get the radius. So what do we got? Area equals pi r squared. All right, I can't do 57.8. Well, I can do it in my head, but I think I better check. So the radius equals 57.8 divided by 2. I'm going to use my calculator. 57.8 divided by 2, 28.9. So it's pi times 28.9 squared. Double check. Yep, was it 57.8? Yes, it was. So now I go back to my calculator. This will be good because we need to make sure we all know how to use pi in our calculator. Clear that. So shift the button below the 3, pi times 28.9. Use your squared button up here. That's equals. And that equals 2623.889. What are we going? Are we going to one decimal place? One decimal place. So it was again 2623.88. 2623.88. By the way, that was 28.9. It goes on. We look down here. Is the number behind 5 or more? Yes, it is. 2623.9. What units were we in? Centimetre squares. All right. So the last question I want you to do are these ones. So I'm going to do 3A here. Now you can draw the circle, but it tells you the radius. Now remember, we're doing to 2 decimal places here. So area equals pi times r squared. And the radius here is 16 squared. I'll just go to my calculator, I go back, use my back arrow, delete those, put in 16, press equals, 804.24, now I have to go 3 decimal places now, 804.247, 804.247. It goes on, dot, dot, dot. Look at the spot where we need to round the decimal, 2 decimal places. Is the number behind 5 or more? Yes, it is. So it's 804.25, what units? Centimetre squares. Check your answer. There it is. And we're right. Let's do D. You do the other one. See, you've been doing before me. The diameter is 45. Well, that's a bit tricky. So I'm going to get the radius. So the radius equals 45 divided by 2. I'll use my calculator for this. 22.5. I now type in my formula. Area equals pi times 22.5 squared. I go to my calculator, clear all that, and I go shift down here, pi times 22.5, use the square button, press equals 1590.431. 1590.431 dot dot dot. We're rounding off here. Is the number behind that line 5 or more? No, it's not. Well, then leave it alone. Just put the 0.43. What units we in? Centimetre squares. Check your answer. There it is. We're correct. Hooray. Happy days. Okay. So please remember what we've done. Remember, we looked at how to find the area of a circle. What is it all about? So look at this Year 8 textbook. You're going to be doing the same work in Year 8. There's the circumference of a circle. So we do all that, all our area again. Changing measurements, units, area of special quadrilaterals. So you're going to be, there it is. So how we find the area of a circle, we carve it up into an infinite amount of sectors, which is hard to get your head around. And then we go, it looks like a rectangle, or it becomes a rectangle or a parallelogram, and you go base times height. The base is a half of your circumference, so it's pi times r, and the height is r, which gives you pi r squared. And then all you have to be able to do is apply the formula, which is so easy. So the one thing you need to make sure you've got in your notes is that the area of a circle equals pi times the radius squared. Make sure you have that somewhere, and you'll be good. Good luck.